Hi, it's Doug Holt with Author of Your Own Story, and in today's episode, we're going to revisit one of our most popular daily growth hacks. So grab your notebooks and remember, the key to success is doing the work. Let's get started. Today's topic, changing the way you look at things. Hi, I'm Doug Holt with Author of Your Own Story, and this is your Daily Growth Hack, where each day we bring you a tip, trick, or insight to help you up-level what we call the 5 to Thrive. That is your mind, your body, your soul, your relationships, and your business. Now, when you change the way you look at things, the way that you look at things actually changes. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, if you're always a grumpy person, or if you're always assuming things are going to go bad, you start to notice all the bad things in life. All the bad things are happening in your mind, your body, your soul, your relationships, and your business. Conversely, if you always expect the best, you're always looking for the good in people, you see the good in your 5 to Thrive as well as all around you. Now, I know this sounds a little abstract to many of you, so let me use an analogy that I've used time and time again that really, I think, drives it home. Have you ever found yourself really interested in a car? Now, for me, a while back ago, several years ago, it was Sprinter vans. I wanted a 4x4 Sprinter van so I could convert it into my ultimate off-road lifestyle vehicle where I could work from, I could play from, and travel the world. You know, I hadn't seen any. I saw them online, but never saw them around town or driving around, and that's what I wanted. Well, soon enough, maybe a couple days later, I was seeing Sprinter van after Sprinter van. Everywhere I would go, I would notice them, I would see them. Roof racks, ladders out the sides, 4x4 tires. It was so exciting. All of a sudden, everybody had a Sprinter van, except for me. Now, eventually I bought one, I converted it, and I absolutely love it. But I've also had this happen with other things. So with other cars that I've wanted. So I really like Land Rovers. I like the look, I like the feel, I like the way they drive. Next thing you know, everybody's driving them. I'm seeing them everywhere. When originally they were hard to find. Were more people driving Sprinter vans or were more people driving Land Rovers? No, absolutely not. I changed the way I was looking at things. I actually started to frame my mind to look for these objects because that's what I was focusing on. Now, the same thing can happen to you, right? So let's say you're expecting the world to end. And I had a conversation in Santa Barbara with somebody who was kind of somewhat joking about this. But everything that they were talking about had a negative twist, had a reason the world was going to end. You know, we had global warming, we had US politics, we had all of these things coming in. And every time something was mentioned, even if it was insects, they carried a disease. It was always negative. And you can actually physiologically see this on the person and it weighing them down. Conversely, I had a talk with somebody else and they were so upbeat and they saw the world as expanding, as ever abundant. And we talked to them, they just filled the room with energy and filled me with energy and love in just a basic conversation. And in everything they saw, US politics was changing and it was great because it was going to evolve into something even better. And the insects carry diseases, but the insects are pollinating the flowers, which allows us to have food in abundance. They saw it totally differently. And it was just a mindset change. So the way that you look at things changes always the way that you actually interact with them. So I'm going to ask you this. Grab your journal right now. Write out your 5 to Thrive and leave a couple spaces. So it's your mind, your body, your soul, your relationships, and your business. Where in each of those sections are you currently viewing something that if you change the way you look at it, you change the paradigm, it'll actually affect the way that you see things, affect the way that you react to the world. So I'll give you a couple examples. Body, right? If you're always walking around saying, I'm tired or I'm fat, and I've shared with you, my own dialogue was always being tired. And when I flipped the script on that, telling myself, I'm not really tired, I have abundance of energy. Like if I won the lottery right now, I wouldn't be taking a nap, I'll tell you that right now, right? So when I changed that, all of a sudden I had all this energy coming into my life, and I realized, wow, everything I'm doing gives me passion and energy. I can't look at it the same anymore. It changes the way that I see things. Where's this happening to you? Are you walking around saying, geez, I just can't work out because I don't have enough time, or I wish I was only 5 pounds heavier, I'm just so fat. Whatever it is, where can you flip that script? Where can you flip your paradigm and see things a little bit differently that will allow you, give you an advantage? It will allow you to better act as the author of your own story. It'll create a better system. Because think about it, right? So if you're walking through with a negative thought pattern or one that's disempowering, so it's not empowering you to do your best, you have the opportunity of changing that. That's a paradigm shift. Now you have the opportunity to see it differently. So let's use global warming as an example. So global warming, obviously horrible. I'm a believer. I think most of you probably are too. This is something that just isn't good. Any way you look at it, right? I go outside, it's hot, it's ridiculous. I'm fair skinned, so I get burnt so easily. But there's other ways to look at that. I can focus just on the negative aspects of the weather. But I can also go, I can go outside and enjoy the beautiful air, the freshness of the mountains, and not focusing on the negativity of global warming, but focusing on the beauty that's around me. And all of a sudden, by changing that paradigm and coming up with 5 things I'm grateful for the outdoor environment, just 5. If I can do that, it changes my paradigm. It shifts my feelings, right? So when I think about the negativities of global warming, it depresses me. But when I actually think about 5 things I'm grateful for about being outside, that excites me and empowers me, and it gives me more energy that I can apply to more things like the Author of Your Own Story University or this podcast or this video that you're watching. Really depends. That is just a paradigm shift. I use this every single day in my business. In my business lifestyle, I use this all the time. Things happen in business. Now, it's the way you perceive them and the way you react to them that makes it completely different. So what I want you to do is write down your 5 to thrive. Write down just disempowering beliefs or disempowering thoughts or the way that you're seeing things in your life that might be disempowering you. I want you to write those down and then write the converse thing, right? Write the opposite. Now, so for example, if it's I'm fat, then you can also say, hey, look, you know what? I have an abundance of energy that allows me to keep going. Or I have plenty of muscle that allow me to do the things I want to do. There's all kinds of ways to do it. And if you can't think of something, let's say you hit soul, that's a common one that people have blocks around for some reason. But if you can't think of something, think about any complaints that you have in that area. Maybe it's I can't think of anything. What are those complaints? And then what's the converse of that? Where do you want that to be? And change that pattern. Start looking at the pattern of what you want it to be and see things through that lens. Yes, it's a practice. Are you going to see it right away? Maybe, maybe not. But if you practice seeing things through that lens over time, just like working out, it becomes a muscle that you can use. Remember, you're setting this to be an advantage for you. That's the goal here. Make it empowering for you rather than disempowering. So empowered thoughts, conversations, but also the way you see the world, especially in your 5 to thrive, will help you better accelerate your journey and becoming the author of your own story. That's it for me today. As always, build your tribe. Share this with at least 3 other people today. It doesn't have to be the same 3 people. Share it with them and get conversations going. Conversations that matter and conversations that are going to allow you to surround yourself with people who are going to continue to empower you. Have a great day, and remember, go out and be the author of your own story. I hope you enjoyed today's Daily Growth Hacks. Please put your comments right down below, and remember to click subscribe. This way we can ensure that we're delivering these Daily Growth Hacks right to you each and every day. On behalf of the whole team here, remember, go out and be the author of your own story.